Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Well, unbeknownst to most of the American people who are just going about their business, or the few paying attention to the Late Late Show, the Senate impeachment trial, the Democrats are now just over a week away from the first contest in their race to try and unseat President Trump. And it's a mad scramble in the run-up to the Iowa caucuses between the top three, maybe four, maybe five competitors, all bunched within a few points of each other. Joining us to review the bidding and analyze which of these candidates has helped the most and hurt the most by the ongoing impeachment crusade on Capitol Hill is our frequent contributor to Liberty Nation Radio, LibertyNation.com, political columnist Joe Schaeffer. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Tim. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, as always. Now, Joe, this cannot be the way Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff drew it up in the playbook, can it? Leading presidential candidates under House arrest or perhaps Senate arrest in a trial they're certain to lose just before the State of the Union address to be delivered by an exonerated Donald Trump. Could they have miscalculated any more spectacularly than this?
Well, no, I don't think Adam Schiff cares. He's a peacock on parade. I'm sure he's enjoying every second of this moment and with little regard for his own party's presidential candidates. This is the kind of chaos going on in the Democratic Party today. But for Nancy Pelosi, this is a nightmare. She's ostensibly one of the leaders of this party on Capitol Hill, and she has lost control of the narrative completely. And now it is actually hurting three of her top-tier presidential candidates, Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, top tier for sure, Klobuchar trying to be top tier. I mean, this is a disaster blowing up in their face. And like you said, all for nothing when Trump gets acquitted in the Senate. It's just going to be a meaningless gesture with negative repercussions for their presidential candidates.
Now, as you said, three of the top five presidential candidates, all of them except Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, are locked down in a Senate trial in which they won't hardly be able to even speak, and which will keep them off the campaign trail at the very time they need to be making their final pitch to Iowa voters. Now, which between Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Amy Klobuchar do you think stands to lose the most by their absence from the campaign?
I think without a doubt it's Klobuchar. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are going to be okay. Those two, along with Biden, are going to get on the scoreboard. They're going to get enough of the percentage of voting where Iowa's not going to hurt them at all. Amy Klobuchar has kind of staked her campaign on this Midwestern nice thing, and Iowa is definitely right in her wheelhouse for that. She needs to make a good showing here. She needs to be out there on the campaign trail right now, beating the bushes, trying to get all the support she can. I think Iowa is much more important for her than it is for the top tier candidates who are going to get what they get and move on. So she's by far, to me, the senator being hurt the most by this.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that because she's staking so much on Iowa. But let's look from the opposite perspective. Which between Biden and Buttigieg do you think benefits the most from the absence of those three senators?
Well, I think it would have to be Buttigieg. Like I said, I think Biden, Bernie, and Elizabeth Warren, it's pretty much the cake is baked. They're going to get a certain level of support. One of them is going to win without separating from the other two. And I just don't think it's going to matter that much in the big picture. But for Buttigieg, he, again, Midwestern nice, him and Klobuchar are kind of fighting over this same turf. So maybe it gives him an advantage over her if he can claim that mantle. Basically, for me, the only thing important about Iowa, I think, is will Klobuchar and Buttigieg get enough support to move on? Will they actually underperform and hurt their campaigns? So in that regard, I think this helps Buttigieg a lot as it hurts Klobuchar.
Okay, well, we have to, of course, through all of this, keep an eye on Michael Bloomberg, who's sort of waiting in the wings, waiting to pounce on Super Tuesday on March 3rd with its 14 states in play that day. Is there still a decent chance that his vision, Bloomberg's vision of a field so divided leading up to Super Tuesday, that the billionaire will be able to sort of swoop in and spend his way to the nomination? Do you think that's a realistic notion?
Well, I think his strategy is quite good. His strategy is right. I just don't think he's got the chops to be somebody who's going to get voters. You know, you got to be a likable candidate. Again, he's mistaking what happened with Trump in 2016. They see a billionaire who won the White House and they think his money got him there. Whereas Trump had solid policy issues that connected with a vast swath of the American people on his populist American First campaign. They will not give Trump that credit. So you get someone cynical like Michael Bloomberg who thinks he can dive in and buy the nomination. Now, that said, if you're going to do that, I think it's smart to focus on states like California and Texas. He's not going to do well in Iowa. He's not going to do well in New Hampshire. Not enough to justify spending tons of money there. You know, if he's going to buy this thing, and I don't think he can, focusing on states like California and Texas is the way to go. And that is what he is doing.
I think it's fair to say that Jeb Bush is the poster child for spending tens of millions of dollars and getting nothing out of it. He got, 3 delegates in 2016 after spending like $135 million. You can take it all the way back to John Connally in 1980, who was considered the favorite because he had so much money. I don't think he even got a single delegate, maybe one. So there's a long history of candidates not being able to buy their way into the presidency. Now, do you think, Joe, that some last-minute event or statement could tip the scales for one candidate or another in Iowa, or is support pretty much hardened for most of these candidates with about a week to go?
I think what we see now is what we're going to get. And again, I think that goes back to the mediocrity of the field. Nobody separated themselves, but we have a top tier established. We have that top three, I think, with Bernie, Biden, and Warren. I just have this feeling that I was going to be significant because one of them is going to underperform. One of Klobuchar or Buttigieg is going to underperform because they're both battling for that Midwestern nice turf. And I don't think they both can get it in significant numbers. I think one of them is going to struggle, and then they're going to have questions about their viability moving forward. That's what's interesting to me about Iowa.
Okay, on that note, thank you, Joe. Thanks for joining us again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That is Joe Schaeffer, political columnist for LibertyNation.com.